All right, work session now underway. First project is 45 West Lockwood. Comments from the board?
Yeah, I just had a clarification on the type of roofing that's going on the dormers. It looks like it was called out different ways. I saw copper and then shingles noted. And then I did have a comment on the sign. Felt like that small little piece of roof could be removed.
Had a couple of verification items on the dormers. On the drawings, they're shown with grills in the windows, and on the rendering, they're showed without grills. So I just wanted to verify which was the case. And then also, we had talked when we saw this in preliminary about making sure that there was enough clearance for a pedestrian to pass by the new structure in front. And then there's street trees there. So I'm concerned that someone can walk past without getting a face full of branches.
Yeah.
May have to plant a tree with a different configuration or something, but just wanted to check on those two items.
I was wondering why the three entry doors off the patio, they are stained glass right now. I'm just wondering why they couldn't keep the stained glass, or just, you know. I think it's an okay shape, but
All right, anything else? That one is a public hearing, so and we will discuss those items with the architect client. The next one, I think, is 219 Newport, and Tracy is gonna recuse herself, so.
I had no comment.
I have just one minor item that's a suggestion and not a requirement, is to consider wrapping the posts below the deck so they don't look thinner than the posts above. But that's only just one minor thing to consider.
See. Good point.
All right, any other comments? I'm sorry, it's just a work session right now. We're just in the work session, so we'll take comments during the regular meeting at 5:30. Thank you. All right, so
The next one's Tracy too.
yes, the next one, 400 North Bompart. That's also Tracy as well, so. Any comments from the board?
I was gonna ask how the windows on the new sided addition are trimmed. On the elevations, they don't appear to have any jambs or heads or silk trim. And then on the front addition, on the front of the house, which is in need of a lot of love, I was just wondering if the existing windows and shutters are remaining, or if they're gonna get renovated, or what's the attitude there. And then how is the foundation to be finished on the new addition? Would it be painted or rubbed or what? And then I don't know if downspouts are in our purview, but I didn't see any downspouts or leaders or anything that would show how the roofs are drained. Those are my comments.
Yeah, my first comment is I'm delighted that someone's fixing this house up. That's, I mean, really, I heartfelt. I think that it'll be a very nice improvement. Just one minor item is since we do have that side stair and it is pretty visible from the street, maybe the area below that that side entry porch from below the framing to the grade, maybe that could be closed off to match the lattice on the front porch. And on the revised drawings on the left side elevation, I'm concerned that there's an awful lot of siding there with just one small window. So maybe we can discuss some ways to relieve that condition.
Right? I think that we can have Tracy come back. All right, and the next project is 628 Yedo Avenue. New deck. Comments from the board?
I have no comments.
Just the usual, is the underside going to get closed off? With a lattice or boarding or whatever.
All right. Moving on, 316 Spring Avenue, detached garage, comments from the board.
No, we didn't have any photographs of the existing house on this one, so it's hard to know if the style coordinates with the style of the existing house.
Same comment. I also had a comment. It looks like, let's see what I have. In the elevation, the soffit panel looks to be parallel to the roof, but in the sections, it shows a flat soffit, which would end up with those pork chops at the front gable. Just wanted to clarify that. And then wanted to see if they'd be open to providing trim around the garage door and maybe add a window if we could.
Because of the grades, they're pretty severe at the garage. I was wondering if they would consider, instead of having the large stair steps, if they either make the steps smaller, which is more formwork, or if they would consider furring down the face of it and putting more siding closer to grade. Although I guess if it is in the rear yard or on the side yard, it might be less of a issue, but.
Yeah. Next project, 603 Sunnyside Avenue, renovation and windows. Comments from the board?
No comments?
I had a couple of clarification items. On the east elevation, there's a window that's shown on the photos, but it's not shown on the elevation drawings. And I didn't see any infill noted, so I just wondered if maybe that was an oversight in drafting. I just wanted to verify the status of that window. And then, oh, on the sort of on the northwest corner, it looks like there's a window in the back. And I was wondering if that window on the first floor, if it wraps the corner onto the rear elevation. We don't have a photograph of the rear elevation of that. And I was just wondering what that configuration is, because it looks like that window is right on the corner in the back. And it looks like the style of that window is changing. So I was wondering how they were going to turn that corner, if it's just going to be a single light window.
And my question is, I think it's correct, but I'm assuming the roof lines are not changing with the renovation to the attic space. Just want to verify that they're not adding something that I'm not seeing besides the skylights.
Okay. Um, right, well, that's the last on the agenda for the work session. So at this point, we're going to take a break and reconvene the formal meeting at 5:30 promptly. So if you're here in person, just hang out, and if you're online, we'll start it back up at 5:30. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone to the Architectural Review Board meeting. We have finished our work session. Official meeting is now underway. Introduced to Koa Bell and Jim Bailey with the city. Emerson Smith is our council liaison this evening. Carol Dunkey, Tracy Collins, David Yates, and myself, Bob Buckman, all volunteer architects on the board. First item of business is to review the meeting minutes from April 17th. And with that, I believe all are present except for Angela. So may I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the April 17th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. April 17th meeting minutes approved as written. At this point, if we read your project, ask you to come to the microphone in front and introduce yourself. We'll discuss your project. If you're online, to raise your Zoom hand, and Takoa will add you to the discussion. First project is a public hearing, 45 West Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Deepika from Colleen Studio Architects.
Hello. Hello. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, I think we had a few comments from the board. And I can start with Carol.
I just had a verification item on the clear story windows. Oh, well, I can see it now. I guess when I looked at it at home, it looked like the rendering didn't show grills in the windows, but they are grills in the windows on the clear
Yeah.
story. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then also, this clearance here
Yeah.
between the shrubs and that, the planting. And
Mhm.
I'm concerned that there's not going to be a whole lot of room there, especially with that tree branches, and then that tree is right at person height. I walked over there and would like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I was like, so it's kind
Yeah.
of, those branches would be right in your face if there's not enough clearance.
Right. We actually revised it and I
Okay.
have updated renderings. And if you look at sheet number, there's an enlarged site plan, A8.0. It shows you where the pergola sits. Can I hand this to you guys?
Sure.
This is the updated.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Do you happen to know what the clear distance is of that walkway?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Do you know what the clear distance is of that walkway between the corner of the shrub and the planting well?
So from, so we've shown like a 2x2 tile, if you can see, on the sidewalk, there's like a hatch pattern. So it should be around 4.5 feet
Mhm.
or
Okay.
5 feet. Is that,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that would probably work out and that have to be vigilant about the tree trimming. So,
yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
I had a question. I noticed throughout the drawings that the material on the roof for the dormers was called out differently. I
Yes,
saw copper and then shingles and,
so it's copper.
okay,
It was shown incorrectly in the preliminary. We fixed that. It's
Yeah.
going to be copper because then it matches the existing roof if you.
oh, okay, yep.
Yeah.
And then I had a comment about the sign, and this might just be my personal opinion. I'd be curious to hear what the other board members think, or maybe it's just me. I felt like that little piece of roof on the sign was getting to be a little, maybe too much with just,
Oh, like trying to mimic what is, that was where that came from?
yeah, yeah, I
mhm.
understood that it was pulling from that, but I just felt like it was a little, like a lot of, maybe trying to do too much with that sign.
Oh,
But that
okay.
could just be my personal opinion, and maybe that I'd be curious to hear what other board members think.
I mean, it's kind of whimsical. I could, my thought is with it, it's okay. I mean, I get it.
Mhm.
If it just had a stone cap, it would be fine too, in my opinion, maybe simplified. But, I didn't really have an issue personally
Sure.
with it.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Wait, so that's okay, so that's standing seam, so that wouldn't match the roof.
No,
Okay, so that'd be separate.
yeah,
I guess it matches the copper.
Yeah.
yeah,
copper,
the,
right?
the color and the material.
Oh, okay.
match, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say? I don't think it's awful, but I think that simplifying it would keep the attention on the building rather than the sign personally, but I'm okay with it one way or the other.
And then David, I think you had a question.
Yeah, on the 3 entry or the 2 entry and the side light or the side window arches entering next to the pergola.
Yeah.
It's showing the stained glass windows and the wide style doors coming out. Is there a reason stained glass isn't retained or
Sheet A 2.1.
A 2.1?
I'm sorry, can you,
A 2.1.
let's see, elevation. Oh, this was just a conversation we had with the church. The congregation is not particularly attached to that stained glass, and their whole idea was to bring in as much light as possible, which was why we decided to go with like taking that out and just bringing in more like just clear glass and bring in more light there.
And there's nothing bound by the district or anything that says about church windows or I don't know, I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is.
What's that?
I mean,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
question.
yeah, just curious if there's a,
There is an historic guideline about retaining the style and size of the existing windows, and it's kind of a shame to lose them because they are a character defining feature.
yeah.
Do they plan to retain those stained glass windows and use them elsewhere in the church? or-
Not those, no,
Okay.
no.
Are they in poor repair or something?
I'm sorry.
Are they in bad shape? Are they in poor repair?
Yeah, they're not in great shape right now. Yeah. They are retaining the main window, the one with the stained glass,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right off the, I mean,
Mhm.
the one with the big window. They are going to repair that and clean it up too. So they are kind of looking to restore that, but not the ones
Yeah,
over the door.
okay.
Has there been a study on how much light is going to come in the clear story windows?
Like a sun study from
Yeah, just curious. Yeah.
from the Clear Story? Yes, we have done that. Yeah, I can share that with you. We have videos of different times
Just
of
curious,
day, seasons.
Like the section shows one bay of the structure.
Yeah.
Just wondering if 2 bays would be more.
So we originally had a bay and a half. This was a whole thing. So it was a bay and a half to bring in more light, but the existing light fixtures in there are really old and it has like the old cabling and wiring in there, and the church did not want to get into that, so we reduced it
Got it.
to one bay. Yeah, but if you notice, we have reduced the incline of the roof too, just to maximize light in that space. So it would be great to have two. That would be nice, but it's like opening a whole Pandora's box up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the experience of working in an office with a clear story window,
Mhm.
and there were certain times of year when it did not have any kind of sun shading device on it, and there's certain times a year where it was intensely
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And so I'm just wondering if any kind of shading device is planned.
Yeah, we are looking at motorized shades.
Yeah.
I'm actually talking to vendors right now to see what shades we're going to use. It's mostly going to be Draper. They provide motorized shades, and that's probably what we're going to do, like in a neutral color. But yeah, that's definitely something we're looking at.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Do I need to include those in this drawing?
No, I was just wondering because I looked at that and I thought had flashbacks of what it was like to sit
Yeah.
there at August with
Yeah.
the sun baking your head while you
Oh.
were trying to work.
Absolutely. We have one in our office, and like when you sit at the conference table, sometimes it's like on your face, you're blinded. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Public hearing, is there anyone else present or online that wants to make a comment about 45 West Lockwood? And seeing no one. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 45 West Lockwood with the clarification that the roof material on the new dormers is to be copper.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, you are approved as noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. All right, Tracy. Is going to recuse herself. Next, we have 219 Newport Avenue. Anyone present for 219?
Have someone on Zoom.
Well,
Hello, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Zettelmeisel. I'm the homeowner at 219 Newport.
hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, I think Carol had a question.
I just have one comment, and it's not a requirement, it's just something to consider. When you look at the back deck and the covered porch, it would be nice to maybe wrap the columns or the posts below the deck so they don't look thinner than the columns above. And, that's just a suggestion, but, everything else looks so nice. I think wrapping those posts might bring you a little more balance.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I think that was really our only comment, Mike. Looks,
Yeah.
the house looks good.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Are you okay with us adding that in the motion?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm for it too. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, very good. With that, may I have a motion on 219 Newport?
I'll make a motion to approve 219 Newport with the understanding that the posts below the deck will be wrapped to match the width of the columns above.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved as noted. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is 400 North Bompart Avenue.
Hello, my name's Keith Moore. I'm the homeowner.
Hey, hello, welcome. All right, we had a few questions I can let Dave ask.
Sure.
Yeah, on the new addition, the siding, the back addition, the windows on the elevations didn't have any trim, like sill or side trim or head trim. What's the plan there on finishing those windows out?
You're talking about the lack of windows?
Let's see here. I'm gonna look at the resubmittal.
Which page you looking at?
Elevations, right?
Yeah, the elevations.
A 3.01.
Yeah, on the windows on the rear elevation and the two side elevations, the windows are drawn with what looks to be just the window frame. And then it comes to the side. If it's the siding, it comes to the siding. There's no vertical trim or a sill trim that you typically see on sided houses. And didn't know if that would be added.
Okay. Agree.
Okay, so we're gonna add in that, and then are you replacing the windows on the front of the house, the existing?
Yeah, all the windows in the house are gonna be replaced. They've rotted out.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So okay. And
Yeah,
then
everything's gonna be replaced in the house.
yeah, oh yeah, looks like it. And then did you have a idea about the exposed concrete on the new addition? You know, it's 3 or 4 foot tall. Would that be painted or natural concrete rubbed or?
Well, I guess at this point, it was just gonna be natural concrete, but if that's not adequate, we're open to suggestions.
Yeah, like if you just pour concrete with the concrete forms and you pull them off, it looks
Mhm.
really rough and unfinished. So usually sometimes they rub it and give it like a plaster texture, if you will. Or they paint it or, just want to know, if you're open to suggestions, which you sound like you are. So do you all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think typically when it's more than a couple feet, we think it just looks a little nicer especially on an existing house that has a foundation that's already got paint on it or stone. That there would be some, matching aesthetic
Mhm.
is typically what we would encourage.
Okay.
But yeah,
Would,
that's all I had. So
would something like the application of a facade, I'll say, that simulates stone foundation be okay? Or is you looking for something else?
I
Yeah.
mean that's nice. What are the existing foundations of the existing house?
I'm sorry.
What are the existing foundations made of? Oh, stone. They look stone.
It looks like stone.
Yeah, the existing foundation is stone, but it's so deteriorated. That's why I was wanting to raise the house and put a new foundation under it.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't see that. Was that on?
Yeah, so in that case, it's just because of all that exposed concrete. So one of the simplest things is to parge it and paint it.
Okay. I mean,
That way,
that's fine. I mean,
that would be one option, but if you wanted to put a stone veneer on it, obviously it would be fine too.
okay. I mean, I was gonna have the whole house blasted or cleaned and repainted anyway, so I could do the same thing. At the same time the house is painted, I can have the foundation painted.
Yeah.
To match. Would that be acceptable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think just talk to your architect about what options they'd recommend too. But maybe we can just say something like the existing and new foundation or all of the new foundation walls will be treated somehow with
Parged and painted.
Argent paint.
Argent painted or a veneer that's painted. I mean, we could give you the options to do either.
Okay,
I would say a third option that some contractors have used is form, you know, they'll use a stone form,
Oh, right.
line, or, you know, there's a stone form line or that makes it look like stone.
well, oh, yeah, when they pour the foundation, yeah, like, kind of like how they do sidewalks now.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I can look into that.
So I would think all of those are options. Okay.
I did have one comment in regards to the, what you, I guess, said about the one wall with too much siding. And it's like, I had already talked to Tracy last night and it was too late to incorporate it into the drawing, but we want to add 2 casement windows to the kitchen area.
I'm delighted.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Like,
On the left side, yeah.
yeah, one on each side of the, I guess, a hood range vent.
Well, that's nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be very nice, both on the inside and the outside.
All right. Great.
Let's-
And one other, I guess, comment in regards to the master bedroom.
Mhm.
It has 2 windows. Yeah, 2 windows shown on the east wall.
Yeah.
And the reason for the renovation is his home is hopefully so my daughter can move into it. She's in Colorado, but she wants to move back to Webster where she grew up. And she would like to maybe eliminate the 2 windows and put one bigger window in the middle, kind of with a maybe like an arch on the top.
And on the rear elevation,
I beg your pardon?
on the rear elevation or on the
Yes.
side? On the,
On the rear,
On the
rear
rear.
wall, which would be the east wall.
So instead of the 2,
2 windows, yeah, separated with a space in between. My daughter was asking if it would even be possible to where the section of the wall is shown, have that be a window, and then the 2 sections where the windows are become wall.
right.
I mean, either option. She hasn't quite decided what she would like, but that's just a suggestion that she wanted me to present as a potential option.
Mhm.
I think that the double window with the arch is just not really in keeping with the style of the house. I could see maybe pushing them together and just having that be a twin window, but I don't know that the arch, you wouldn't have room to make much of an arch. You know what I mean?
Well, it
Between-
wouldn't be a real, I mean, something to sort of, I guess, match the design of what the front door opening looks
Yeah.
like.
Oh, okay.
Right, I was looking at that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an anomaly, but really have an issue with it myself.
So I'm just trying to think if we push those
Is it the-
windows together and try to do this sort of
Do that.
flattened arch, it's, you know, it's going to be very wide and the arch is going to be very shallow. I don't
Mhm.
think that you're going to be able to
Well,
get,
she was also talking about having the window a lot taller.
Mhm.
yeah, well, you know what, the way I'm looking at your rear elevation, you don't have that much space between the head of the window and the soffit.
No.
So, yeah, I understand the idea, but I just don't think there's space to execute that and have it look good. Especially if you push those windows together, that arch is going to be very long and very shallow, and you're not going to really have room for any grills in there. I think it would be all grills and very little glass. So I can understand the aesthetic she's going for, but I just don't think it works with the room that you have there with the roof lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really one of those where I'd want to see it with the arch. Cause I'm not sure either.
Yeah, yeah.
There was also a comment about the area below the side porch. Was that you, Carol?
Yeah, just a comment on the area below the side porch, since it is fairly visible. if we could close off the area below that little side porch with lattice to match the front porch, I think that would look nice. And I don't know if you were here and heard the comment, but we really appreciate you taking care of this house. It needs some looking after. So thank you for taking on this project.
Okay.
Are you okay with putting some lattice underneath that side porch?
What's that?
Are you okay with putting some lattice underneath that little side porch?
No,
You don't want it there? May I ask why?
no, I'm sorry. Say the question again.
Do you mind putting, see, on this little side porch?
Are you talking about the front porch?
This little guy here on this side porch? Where the side door is?
Oh, you're talking about the side opening?
Yeah, this, right under here, this little guy right here, there's like a little deck and then it goes down to your stairs. Because this is kind of visible on the side of your house, what the question is if you could go ahead and just close off this little area to match the front porch
Oh, sure.
with the lattice?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Okay, no, that,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that was everything on the list. We got the concrete finish, window trim. And the lattice under the side porch.
The addition of the casements in the kitchen on the side elevation.
Exactly. I think with that, if those all sound agreeable, we can read those into the motion.
Okay, and let me just verify because I was writing, did we get the trim added to the windows and doors at the sided areas?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
are we ready for motion?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, you want to go or you want me to do it?
Yeah, Dave.
I didn't write down.
Carol, go ahead.
Go ahead, Carol.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve 400 North Bompart with the following understanding. There will be trim added to the windows and doors on the sided area. The exposed concrete foundation walls will be finished with parging and be painted, or stone form liners will be used. There will be 2 casement windows added to the kitchen on the side elevation, and the area under the side porch will be closed off with lattice to match the front porch.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved as noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, we can have Tracy come back. Next, we have 628 Yedo Avenue, new deck.
Hi, my name is Pete Mitchell,
Hey, people.
and I'm here for my friend Dan Hoskins, the owner of the property who I'll build the deck for. And it sounds like your questions about lattice work, happy to put lattice work around. It'll be 2 sides only.
Okay. How's that? Everybody good?
Good, I think so.
Right.
Because the third side's so low to the ground. At the driveway.
One is adjacent to the back of the garage. The remainder of that'll have a fascia board that'll run and trim really to the driveway
Yeah.
almost, same as on the opposite adjacent side. So it'll be the back side and the other side
Cool.
that we'll get a lattice.
Okay, great. Thank you. With that, may I have a motion on 628 Yedo?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve 628 Yido as drawn with the stipulation that the 2 sides will be latticed or covered otherwise to the grade.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved as noted. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good night. Next, we have 316 Spring Avenue, detached garage.
I have one person on Zoom. Hi, this is Justin Cook. I'm the architect.
Hey, Justin.
Welcome, Justin.
Hey,
Um,
sorry if there's a little background noise. I'm at the airport.
okay. I think we're missing some photos.
Yeah, we didn't receive photos of the existing house, and one of the things we typically look at is how the style of the new detached garage works with the style of the existing house, but we received no
Okay.
photos.
Well, the current house is vinyl siding, and the addition's designed to match it. Um, so it's gonna match exactly the same product.
Okay, so you're saying that the siding on the garage will match the siding on the existing house, and it'll have the same width and the same trim, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that includes like, yeah, because we can't see it, does that include like corner trim and the trim around the doors?
It'll be the same. Yeah. There, I believe it's a pretty typical detail with the J mold around the windows and doors, and then the corner trim is around 2 or 2.5 inches, I think, or whatever the typical kind of corner trim is there. So it'll match.
Okay, so on the house, there's just J mold around the windows, there's no trim? Really? There's just the J mold?
Um, I'd have to look closer at it to give you a for sure answer on that.
Yeah, well, could we just stipulate that the trim on the new garage will match the width and the configuration of the trim on the house?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay. And it looks like you don't have any windows on the garage at all. Is there a particular reason for that?
No particular reason. There's a lot of complexity with the foundation since it's sitting in to a hill. And so, I mean, we could potentially add one on the, what is that? The north elevation, I believe. That's got some areas closer to grade, if we needed to.
Just a second. And I think, Dave, did you have some questions about the foundation conditions?
Yeah, just wondering on the, since the garage is in a large, pretty steep hill like that, would you consider, adding more, steps to the formwork of the concrete to bring the siding closer to grade, or doing furring strips to bring the siding down closer to the grade, just to hide the concrete?
Yeah, I was trying to balance, the amount of stepping versus the amount of exposure, and trying to, it's almost like sometimes if you have too many steps, it looks odd, but then, having barely any also looks odd. So I was trying to strike that balance with what we have.
Okay. Would it be possible to do furring strips and bring the siding down in front of the concrete?
I think so. I think they would have to set the, I guess you could do like 1/2 inch furring strips behind it. I'd have to talk to the contractor just about fastening the siding into the concrete. Because it would be a pretty thin furring strip since the base plate has to, or the sill plate has to sit on top of the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly evident on the wall that faces the main yard and the exterior steps.
Yeah, there's an existing retaining wall there that they're working around. So I think I could add some more notes to just, we can kind of verify it on site and try and get it as close as possible without being, having the bottom of the siding too close to the grade.
And then on the front elevation of the garage, it's extremely plain. And we don't have any photographs of the existing house to see like if there's any trim boards or gable vents or anything that elements that could be pulled from the house to make the garage look more compatible and less like sort of a generic outbuilding. Since it will be visible from the street, would you consider putting like maybe a taller header trim across the overhead door and maybe adding some sort of gable vent or something to that front elevation to make it a little more compatible with the neighborhood?
Yeah, we could certainly take another look at that, and I can kind of zero in on some of that detail. Right now, the existing garage is pretty clean. It doesn't have a whole lot of extra trim going on, except it does have a small gable vent. So I think that could certainly be a good addition there.
Okay. And then what about, with something like a deeper header or something? It looks like we just have maybe like one lantern on one side, and it's so generic. And that's such a nice area with the architectural character of the houses in that area are really nice. And so it's kind of a shame to have this generic outbuilding so clearly visible from the street. That's why we're kind of working on maybe getting it to have a little better neighborhood fit.
Yeah, we could put a larger piece of trim on there. I think that would be okay. I don't have any issues with that. The architecture of the house is pretty simple. And that's kind of there's not a lot of extra detail on that, I guess is what I'm saying.
It doesn't really have to be like if you go for a little deeper header across that overhead door, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be just something very simple, but with a little depth to it. So there's some variation there.
Yeah.
And, just I think maybe even just a plain rectangular gable louver would help kind of relieve that plainness.
Yeah, we can certainly add that.
I had one comment or question for you. In the elevations, it looks like the roof soffit is parallel with the roof slope. And in your section, you've got a horizontal soffit panel drawn, which would create kind of that pork chop look at the front. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
that's what it is called.
Oh. So I wasn't sure, what the existing house has. Maybe we could pull cues from that. But it looks like there's two different things shown in the drawings.
So maybe.
Okay, I'll look at what the existing house has going on, and try to match that as much as possible. I believe there's a typical, like, what do you call it? The box.
Pork
Shoot,
chop.
is pork chop the right name? I think that's what's going on the house, but I'll
Yeah,
double check
Boxy.
that.
If it has a horizontal soffit, then it would have, that trim piece would extend out to the face on both the west and the east sides,
Yeah, at the gable end.
would be finished off, yeah.
Yeah, that's the intention, is that the soffit's flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so would it be okay if we were to say that the garage soffit configuration will match the house? And that way we have it covered to pork chop or not pork chop.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think just to go back to what David was talking about, this does seem like to me, if that siding followed the grade on the north and south and even the east side, I mean, it's not as big of a deal. I just think it would clean it up, the finish of it. So whether you put the furring strips in the pour in the concrete pour. I think that's a typical way to do it, to let the vinyl siding come down. It just seems like that was something I kind of felt when I saw it the first time, that was, I was gonna suggest that.
Would you want to see it like the bottom of it sloping or just flat with more stair steps?
I think sloping it myself with the
Yeah.
grade, seems like a candidate for that if there ever was one, because there's so many steps, and I think, you've got a slope that's pretty long. I think it would look better
Yeah.
myself.
Just hold it like 8 inches above grade and
Right,
Yeah, and
follow
just-
the grade.
Okay,
And just,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, and just cast in a 1x2
right.
every,
Burring strips.
every 16 in the formwork would work really well.
Right. So I think that's the north and the east, and then a portion of that south side, as well.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've talked through several items here, and sounds like, Justin, you're in agreement with them, so I think we could read a motion that includes all of these items.
You okay with that? Is Jim okay with it? Because we kind of put it on you.
Carol?
Sorry.
Are you okay with the motion that we just refer to the existing house?
Oh, yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
it just kind of puts it on you
Nope,
to like
yep.
verify all that. Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna make sure,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the pictures and
Yeah.
double check.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay,
Good question.
yeah. All right, so with that, I think we can read, a motion off. Who would like to do this one?
Carol?
Carol, may I have a motion, please, Carol?
I'll do it if nobody else wants to. If everybody just wants to double check that we've got everything on the list. Is that good? Okay, here we go. I'll make a motion to approve 316 Spring Avenue with the following understandings. The siding width and trim configurations on the new garage will match the house. Burring strips will be added to the foundation walls so the siding can run down to 8 inches above the grade. The slope shall follow the grade, and this will apply on the north, east, and a portion of the south side. A rectangular gable vent will be added to the gable at the front elevation. The header over the overhead door will be slightly taller than shown. And the siding, or excuse me, the soffit configuration of the new garage will match the soffit configuration of the house.
Did you get the trim? We did talk about trim.
Yep,
Yeah.
the trim.
First ones,
Okay.
yeah. Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, opposed? All right, Justin, you're approved as noted.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin.
Good night. All right, next we have 603 Sunnyside Avenue renovations and windows.
Have one person on Zoom.
Hello,
Hi, my name is Tim Shops. I'm an architect at Blaze Architects.
welcome, Tim.
Tim.
All right, there were a couple questions on this one.
Yes, I was listening in during your work session. I'd like to bring to your attention that all the work is in the attic, and anything below the gutter line is not in our scope of work.
Okay, so just to verify then that that window that's missing off of the drawings on the east elevation, that stays, correct?
Correct.
And then the windows on the first floor on the northwest corner, those are existing to remain?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think that
Yeah, fine.
takes care of everyone's questions. All right, thank you, Tim. With that, may I have a motion on 603 Sunnyside Avenue?
I'll do this one. I propose to
I make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the renovation at 603 Sunnyside Avenue as submitted.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, you're approved as drawn. Thank you, Tim. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And with that, we are adjourned. Thanks all.